Okay, gonna read my book here.
Hey, baby.
Kind of stopped at a stupid point last time. The tradition of the primitive church has never completely faded. Violent anchorites have come down to break statues and signs of idolatry, as in the 4th and 5th centuries. There have always been millenarian groups causing political and social trouble. The ruling institutional church might adjudge them heretical, but it cannot easily eradicate them. We do not have on the one side authentic Christian believers faithful to the institutional church, whose perversion by politics we have rightly been scrutinizing. On the other side, vague, uncertain, spiritual, and revolutionary currents that do not represent faith in Jesus Christ. We have to take into account the fact that the Church of Jesus Christ is not limited by legal and dogmatic barriers. It has both a spiritual and an institutional constitution. It includes not only the papacy, but also Joachim de Fiore, not only Luther, but also Munzer, not only strict Lutherans, but also the Wittenberg spirituals, not only the implacably rigorous Calvin, but also prophets of Savinus. In other words, the church in the spiritual and theological sense always contains a current that is hostile to political power, that is revolutionary and anarchical. But this is not the current that society as a whole, and especially the political authorities, recognize as the church. If these many movements have failed, it is primarily because of their intrinsic nature. Spiritual currents cannot last. When they attack political power, this power attacks them in return and proclaims that the true church is what is in alliance with it. Here is the good, solid, institutional church with which one can make contracts and have a coherent policy. This church is officially the only possible church, the only admissible and acknowledged church. The others are condemned both by the state and by the official church. Sometimes when the authorities go too far, even this church is forced into opposition, as in the case of the recusant priests in 1790 during the French Revolution, or the confessing church at the Synod of Barmen in 1934 against Hitler, or Cardinal Winsky, the Polish Church, in 1953 against communism. But these revolts are only incidental. Once accord is possible, the resisting church renounces its resistance to the authorities as the later change or become reasonable. It is generally explained that the church should recognize and support political power, except when this power becomes idolatrous or heretical and persecutes the church. This principle is recognized by both Roman Catholic and Calvinist churches. Even if the collusion of church and state has not been constant or unanimous, the corruption of revelation by association with politics has been continual and decisive. In sum, what the recognition of the state and the entry of Christians and the church into politics have produced is a mutation that amounts to subversion. Revelation inevitably meant a break in the human order, in society, in power. Jesus came to cast a fire on the earth. He did not come to bring peace, but a sword. He brought division between members of the same household. He is the occasion of a break and a fall for many. If the world hates his disciples, they must know that it hated him first. Just as conversion always means a break in individual life, so the intervention of revelation means a break in the whole group, in all society, and it unavoidably challenges the institution and established power, no matter what form this may take. There's a footnote. Note that it is not a matter of whether the regime is an unjust one, or a materialistic one, or a regime of the right. The theology of revolution is totally off the mark in this regard. But adulteration by political power has changed all this. Christianity has become a religion of conformity, of integration into a social body. It has come to be regarded as useful for social cohesion, the exact opposite of what it is in its source and truth. Alternatively, it has become a flight from political or concrete reality, a flight into the spiritual world, into the cultivation of the inner life, into mysticism, and hence an evasion of the present world. The two perversions are complementary. Theologically, they negate the incarnation by separating the physical and the spirit. He says, we submit to the physical, and that the spirit enables one to veil one's face from the physical. Spiritual. Sociologically, they are the result of political action regarding the church and the church's acceptance of it. Hey, lackluster. I'm just reading a book. A book to which one might refer, and whose analysis are similar to my own, is V. Cosmao's Changer le Monde. This work, too, speaks about the perversion of Christianity. Its point of view is different, for it is concerned about action in the third world, and Cosmao is a liberation theologian. Yet, he has to ask why the church has finally betrayed the prophetic and evangelical message. His general thesis is that societies obey two sociological laws. I agree with this. According to which, when left to their own inertia, they structure inequality and fabricate goods that become their masters. God's revelation in Jesus Christ expressly contradicts these two laws and should produce equality and destroy false gods. The author contends, however, that Christianity has taken on the role of a civil religion and thus has become Christendom. Once it is recognized by the secular power, it structures and organizes itself on the basis of a system fashioned by the administration. In both its secular and regular forms, Cosmao argues, the church structures itself in systems patterned on the organization of the Roman Empire. When the empire collapses, the church is the only cohesive factor. Instead of resisting unequal structuring, the church sacralizes societies that organize themselves unequally. As the official religion, Christianity becomes the reference point of which all civil power must take account and on which it must depend for its installation. The image of the empire fixes on the papacy. The Pope claims to be the successor of the Western emperors. God is the protector of the order. During the period of disorder, from the 5th to the 11th century, security becomes a first concern. To further the development of new political structures, the church sacralizes them. Since only warriors can grant a group any relative security, It gives them primary social ranking. In this situation of insecurity and cumulative evils, however, only eternal life brings any real security. The religion of eternal life is the counterpart of the sacralization of the social system in which, in principle, the princes are subject to the priests, but the priests are in forced alliance with the princes. Christianity becomes an organized society, Christendom. In this society, the church has both a perverse and benevolent role. Perverse inasmuch as it sacralizes society, benevolent inasmuch as it protects the poor and the weak. Thus constituted and instituted, Christianity becomes the world's civil religion. All this becomes a hindrance when the Western world finds itself engaged in global expansion in the 15th century. With European conquest, the link between conquerors and priests becomes apparent. Here is a new and interesting point in Cosmau's work. The imposition of the structures of Christendom is a constitutive feature of colonialization. The peoples are dependent in every area, and the church contributes to cultural and ideological dependence. But the churches created in, say, Latin America are churches of the poor with a native origin. Existing on the periphery of the mother church, they carry a primary evangelical truth. There is in them, he thinks, a revival of experienced revelation. The poor of Latin America discover that the God of the gospel is the liberator long before the theologians do. The persecution of these new Christians by powers invested with the defense of Christian civilization is a sign of the continuity of their confession of faith with that of the first Christians. They challenge the equation of maintaining existing order with defending the rights of God. These witnesses to Christianity were finally overcome in the 16th century. The God of Jesus becomes the keystone of the new empire. Such, in brief, is Cosmo's account of this perversion of Christianity. To what we have already indicated, he adds on the one hand of the church's role in sacralization of established powers, and on the other, the global extension of the system of Christendom, with the final setback when Christianity is instituted as a civil religion. Naturally, as in Amory, this analysis serves as a basis for examination of ways to change the world. The central problem is thought to be underdevelopment. The first condition for changing this is that when God is changed into the guardian of order and power, atheism is a condition of social change, and the aesthetic wave is thus a blessing. What the fuck? The first condition for changing this is that when God is changed into the guardian of order and power atheism. What the fuck? This sentence makes no sense. An atheistic wave is thus a blessing. Oh, I get it. The first condition for change is that when God is changed into the guardian of order and power, atheism is a condition of social change, and the atheistic wave is thus a blessing. God and the church cease to protect an unjust order. We must desacralize and de-Christianize the system to bear witness to the truth of God. We must renounce Christian society and fight for social justice. That is, combat the natural tendency of societies to constitute themselves in an unequal fashion. On the basis of atheism, a more just structure of society is possible. What the fuck? Atheism gives revealed truth a chance to rediscover itself. The criticism of religion will prove to be the most beneficial. The criticism of religion will prove to be the most beneficent historical incident in the history of Christianity since it became Christendom. A historical necessity, atheism might prepare the way for a return of God, which will be just as promising for the equilibrium of societies as the negation of a God who has become the guardian of established disorder. But this leads to obvious ambiguity. That's fascinating. So when Christians get out of fucking control and align themselves with the state, it's actually atheism. Holy shit. Atheism becomes the basis for a more just structure of society. Okay, because societies tend to form themselves in an unequal fashion. Hierarchy. And Plato in the Republic, he talked about how the best system is a system in which, like, those at the bottom stay at the bottom, those at the top stay at the top. Basically, Plato thought the worst sin would be to be able to move up or down in class. But that's what's kind of great about America is, yeah, it's a society where there's not equality, but at least like people at the bottom in America have the opportunity to rise to the top. They work hard. That's the idea. But ultimately it's corrupt and it's not fair, and it's more about like to be successful you have to kind of know the right people and join the right organizations. But there is still a possibility to be successful on your own. They make it harder and harder as time goes by. If we can follow Cosmo when he says that since the world is structured in sin, participation in its transformation is a condition of conversion to God in Jesus Christ. It seems to me less evident that when people liberate themselves, by their own efforts, from bondage, they will find that God is their liberator and creator, and also that humanity, a somewhat uncertain entity, is the one collective subject of history to which the earth is committed with goods that are meant for all. Cosmo sees clearly when he analyzes the perversion of Christianity, but he is vague and uncertain when he looks at the outcome. The struggle for justice, he thinks, must precede the hearing of God's word. He takes no position toward communism, but one senses his sympathy, which can hardly be based on ignorance. He makes the mistake of equating revolutions with the presence of God. He does not specify what tyrants must be cast down. When he says that we must read the gospel from the standpoint of the people, he leaves out the Holy Spirit. He constantly restores human initiative and possibility, being a traditional Roman Catholic theologian in this regard. Thus, when he writes that God summons us to make ourselves exist in his image, he adds that we are demiurges by vocation, giving ourselves existence as we organize the world. Finally, in classic fashion, justice, undefined, is for him the one recognized value that expresses the Christian faith. This changing of the world is not a matter of freedom or truth. He traces everything back to human conduct and practice. Without naming them, he rejects a deductive theology in favor of an inductive theology when he says that theology's role is to assess the practice of the faith. This seems to me to be unacceptable. The book is an essential one, however, if we are to gain new insight into the errors of Christendom. If we ignore a certain socializing ideology and some ambiguities, it can help us to achieve a true grasp of the claim of revelation upon the whole of human life. Huh. Well, that's the end of that chapter. Political perversion. And now we are on Nihilism in Christianity, chapter 7. Should I get banned from a Discord server? What's a CP arrest? What the fuck is this? 20 minutes. I don't even know who. Who is Amos Ye? Oh, CP child porn. I forget CP is child porn. Huh. No one's around today. What's this guy? Sith.
I don't care. No, I don't care what you have to say. Get out of here. We're having a good time in here. We're not listening to you fucking gaslighting me.
Wow.
What's up, Mars?
Hi, Mars.
Hi.
So,
How are you
Red
today?
Wash, do you want me to sing? Because obviously they don't want to listen to this rap.
Yes,
I
yes, I still want you.
I'm confused though. You attacked me for apologizing.
Shut up! I told you to stop. Why can't you understand to stop already?
Okay.
It's like you guys have never been told no in your lives. For fuck's sake. Okay, I'm gonna sing. Do you know SZA?
No,
Hello?
sorry.
Hmm?
Do you want to start a
I
family
said
with
no,
me?
sorry.
Hello.
I'm gonna sing Mariah Carey then.
I need a womb.
Oh. We're singing.
Okay.
All right, fine.
I want to make babies.
Bro, stop. No more.
Fuck's Draco doing?
Nowadays, and there's a problem with communism. But like, I don't think calling someone a misogynist or like sexist or like they being what they want to is like wrong.
No,
Yeah, I think it's like they have the choice. They have to have the ability to do what they want. I think that's great about America. But like, yeah, I don't agree with you saying that calling someone misogynistic or like
bro,
something like that is wrong or
look,
something. Yeah.
you're a teenager, and that's not like I don't say that
Are you
to
talking to
put
me?
you down or anything. Yeah, because I was a teenager as well. I know how
Or is
you know.
Draco talking about something?
Here's the thing. When you
Is he
in
getting
a
on your
world
case for not?
where women have rights than men and have more opportunities than men, you can't come with misogyny, dude. Because women in America are fucking free. They do whatever they want. Whatever they want. They can marry a guy, take his money, dump him, get another guy,
That's the
get
problem.
billions of dollars. That's the problem. You understand? So when you come at me with misogyny, it is true that women are, some women do get abused. That is very wrong. It's very bad. Yeah, that's not something we should like encourage or support or anything like that. But when you come with, but that's misogyny. No, 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 no. Let me tell you what's going on. Women control men. Men do not control women. You don't even know how a woman can control a man. You have no idea. Yeah, the stuff a woman can pull, the subversive shit a woman can pull. Yeah, the manipulative, the gaslighting that a bad woman, right? Not all women, but a bad woman can do. And a lot of women in your country, in your, in your city, even maybe, um, they just benefit from them having bad behaviors and males excusing those bad behaviors. That's really, really bad for society. It's bad for men. It's bad for women as well. That's how
Yeah.
it is. Misogyny is bullshit. That's what about misandry? Do you know about misandry? Women treating men like shit, being passive aggressive towards them, hurting them emotionally, hurting them psychologically. Women can do that, bro. So don't take it like you see the big bad man and he is strong and gives off the impression that he's an abuser, bro. That's a woman's projection because she cannot handle a man physically. Yeah. In reality, let me tell you something. Alexander the Great, one of the greatest rulers, was manipulated by his mother. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
but I get your point. I do like misogyny. Nah, 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 nah. Once you when you try to stay true to yourself in front of a girl, of a woman, and you don't take shit from her, that's when you will that is when you will see who the actual dominator is. It's the woman. It's not you. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like it happened
I
with
guess.
me and Alit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
but like I agree. Like the legal system really benefits women a lot. Like
the
especially
most
in child support. Like yeah, and
divorce cases.
yeah, legally like women definitely benefits more. But like
Yeah.
yeah, I think women definitely get treated better in America. But like I think calling someone a misogynist is like it's like saying, oh, just because white people like get treated like okay, so way back, right? So way back in the 17th century, like maybe like
Mhm.
there were also black racists back then. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just because white people treated black people way worse than black people treated white people doesn't mean that black people couldn't be racist. Like it's
Yeah,
like
that's
saying
true.
just because someone has privilege over you, I mean, just
Hmm.
because a group of people have privilege doesn't mean that the underprivileged can't treat the privileged bad.
Absolutely. Well done and well said because a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people refuse to see that. It's like black people can't be racist. How? Well, they don't have the ability to be racist. No, 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 no. It doesn't matter that you don't have the money to put all, let's say, all white people in cages. It doesn't matter that. What matters is how you treat them. And if you're treating them like, shit, cracker, you a cracker honky, nigga, shit. Yeah? If you treat him like that, like that's fucking racism, bro. It's racism towards white people, and
Yeah,
other white people are racist towards black people. So,
yeah, and
yeah.
that's the point that I was trying to make with misogyny. Like, misogynist isn't like saying like all male are like treating women like shit or something.
Of course not.
Like misogyny just means like the person you're referring as a misogynist is a is acting in a misogynistic way. It doesn't mean like all men are misogynistic. It just means
I
that
know.
person is
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So I think yeah.
here's the thing. Like misogyny, it's not a like it's not really a thing, man. Women just use that word to get ahead, right? To have something to say, well, he's being a misogynist. What the fuck does that even mean? It means hating women. Who the fuck hates women, bro? Nobody hates women. No, nobody. Like men are programmed. Like I've said this over and over again to other people. Like men are programmed to be attracted, love, and protect women. There's no like it, misogyny. It's fucking bullshit because in the long run, the woman gets more control and the woman treats the man shitty, in a shitty way. More than the man does, maybe. Even though there are cases in which men treat women like shit. You know?
Yeah.
It's fucked up. I know that it doesn't mean that all men are misogynistic, but this term to me is just bullshit. Because of the privileges and the extra stuff that women have. Like, I don't think you can say anymore that there's misogyny. You could have said that there's misogyny, let's say, I don't know, when women were forced into sex, sleeping with just one guy, 400 of them. Maybe then, yes, you could say that shit. But nowadays, that's laughable. Yeah, so misogyny. What about misogyny? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. Yeah, of course, like most men don't hate women. Like that's true, but some men do. Like not like you can't like generalize all men. Like it's like the same thing with women. Yeah, it's the same thing with women like calling
Alright. So keep reading. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you. It's me. Oh, good boy. Yeah, you're purring. Hey. It's so beautiful. Hey. Aw, he rubbed his face on my finger. Come up here. Come up. You can come up here. Come up here. Come on. Oh. Good boy. Hey. Good boy. Almost being bullies, but mainly not. My bestiality stream. Hey, baby. Good boy. Hey, good boy. Hey. He thinks I'm silly. You want to study Christianity with me? Nobody else does. Nobody likes me. I know, baby. You're my only friend. Yeah. Thank God for you, baby. Yeah. Are you a Christian or are you an atheist? You can't be an agnostic. You have to be one or the other. You just want to sit on the fence, kitty. It's because the vet took your balls, so you can't make a decision, huh? No, you scared if you wrong. Nihilism and Christianity. Let us say at once that... Wait, maybe I should check my mic level. Probably fine. Amazing. Let us say at once that we are not trying to deal with the problems of theoretical or philosophical nihilism. What are you doing? You gonna jump up there? Oh, you. What interests us is living nihilism, not the narrow practice. Like that of the Russian nihilists at the end of the 19th century, but a certain attitude toward life. Moreover, my concern is not with the lasting question of an inherent nihilism that comes to new expression in every epoch, but with a specific contemporary form of nihilism, or, more precisely, with the progressive rise of nihilism, with the way in which it has slowly taken root in the Western world and then come to full flower. If the question arises, it is because we now see nihilism everywhere expanding and triumphant. In practice, from the time of Nazi nihilism, there has been a kind of polymorphic development of global nihilism. This development is undoubtedly due, on the one hand, to the fact that our society no longer offers any meaning or value that makes life worth living. Everything that makes up our world is exposed to radical doubt. This applies to all things that we have painfully built up so as to arrive at some meaning, and to all things that the West in particular has instituted. Finally, no dominant or adequate value has been found in the self. The development is due, on the other hand, to the fact that we no longer have the force, the vigor, the energy, the resolution, the conviction to set up new values, to make our own, to institute a new framework of life, a new possibility of meaning, given the fact that such things can be done not by an arbitrary individual decision, but only in such a way that values are believed and accepted by all. We thus face the astonishing phenomena of a whole society that is nihilist. There have been such societies before. Every society, when at its end and about to vanish, denies its own values. But this has usually gone hand in hand with disintegration. The odd thing about our society is that its nihilism is associated with power. It does not presage. It does not presage collapse? What the fuck word is that? I have 16,000 subs, because of this video. Well, I got some subs from trolling flat earthers, but most of my subs come from this video on my channel called The Blood Sacrifice Lifestyle, and it has 250,000 views. And it's about how if you want to be successful in the music industry, you have to make a blood sacrifice of someone you love. So all the successful musicians you see, they have to sacrifice to get to where they are. Since it's like a satanic cult that controls things like the music industry, Hollywood, and politics and business. So yeah, most of my subs come from that one video, and no one really gives a shit about me, so. I didn't even make that video. I just re-uploaded it because well, it's a good thing I did, because the guy who originally made the video, his channel got deleted for telling the truth. My channel would get deleted if it was popular. I forgot where I was. It does not challenge the rigid structures of our economy or technology. It seems to be an exact double or inverse replica of our productivity, consumption, and efficiency. The living nihilism provoked by the non-acceptance of this society is not explicit, nor is it taken up by certain acknowledged leaders. Our writers, of course, express it, albeit involuntarily. We find the most striking marks of it in them, but they do not initiate it. Intellectuals and novelists who, sometimes involuntarily, formulate are read and adopted only insofar as they express the common sentiment and reflect their time, not as they invent or initiate. Furthermore, this nihilism plays a role only as it relates to existing values, whether of the present century or traditional. Thus, when artists state that art is made neither for beauty, nor meaning, nor harmony, nor joy, they are led to the total nihilism of absolute non-work. But this is a game. When the nihilism into which people are plunged is not a game, the absurdity of life is what sticks in their throat. In artists, there is a nihilism that consists of destroying and rejecting all that might risk not being nihilist. The nihilism of such artists is that, okay, so I can say, due to my knowledge of propaganda, that the CIA was promoting nihilistic art in the 60s, and for a source on that, it's in the book The CIA in the World of Arts and Letters. Or no, the book's titled The Cultural Cold War, The CIA in the World of Art and Letters. And it's by Frances Stoner Saunders, Oxford graduate, and she reveals how the CIA uses art as propaganda. So like movies, TV, radio, music, even actual art like paintings, propaganda, fashion, propaganda, all controlled by intelligence agencies. The nihilism of such artists is that of the subject or author or hero. There is no subject or hero to depict. There are only onomatopoeic sounds or colors. Omnopoteic Omnipotopoic. Omnipotopoic. The fuck word? Should I look up that word? Wonder if I'm pronouncing it right. Onomatopoeia? Onomatopoeic?
Onomatopoeic.
Onomatopoeic. Onomatopoeia is when a word sounds like, or what it sounds like what it means, right? Onomatopoeic. There are only onomatopoeic sounds and colors, or colors. People have vanished. This is the problem, and it comes to expression both in structuralism and in Foucault, in his famous saying that announces the end of humanity is simply an accident. The subject is hated. It is eliminated. The object triumphs. Above all, nothing triumphs. The nihilism is ultimately that of meaning. Nothing makes sense, neither the work nor the written page. To look for meaning is a sign of weakness, of intellectual deficiency. To look for meaning is a sign of weakness. Oh my god, that is so true. Like, everyone's afraid to believe something unless they have evidence to prove their beliefs. And I think that's like some sort of evolution or something. Like, it's the where we've arrived. The epitome of knowledge is let's not look for meaning in things. It's weakness. Let's just only believe what is objectively true. Structural linguistics come in here. Yet this is not just an affair of intellectuals and novelists. There is also a political nihilism that is characterized less by extreme doctrines than by weakness in an extreme density of means, and by a radical inadequacy regarding the real. The weakness of paralysis shows up in the extremes of power, rigor, absolutism, and control. Since politics functions outside reality by way of abstraction, ideology, seduction, and the hypnosis unleashed by power, this blocks the political apprehension of the real and rules out any possibility of finding a different form. Such nihilism is the same in Nazis, liberals, and communists, but it would be unimportant were there not. As we have said, a correspondence between these orientations and general practice is seen in the flight from meaning juxtaposed with the impossibility of living without it, suicidal conduct either in outlined or carried to conclusion, terrorism, and radical pessimism regarding the social structure. More deeply, nihilism means a refusal to consider the real at any level, and especially in one's own actions. For 50 years, the nihilism of communists has kept them from viewing reality lest it overturn an idealistic and doctrinaire system. The inability to create values is inevitably doubled by the refusal to face reality no matter what it may be. That's what faith is. The acceptance of reality no matter what it may be. These empiricists and rationalists and skeptics who criticize faith, they have no fucking clue. Faith is about accepting things even if you don't like it based on your bias. So it's actually the best way to arrive at truth conclusions. But they think it's the opposite because they're stupid. Having given this brief sketch of nihilism, I want to tackle its relation to Christianity. Without going into theological questions, we see at once two orientations. The first is the collective sociological historical dimension denoted by the ism aspect. Christianity has had a social role, and this has not corresponded to what one might have hoped for, to what the premises of the faith might have led us to hope for. Over against this is the reality of the Christian message, the biblical revelation which becomes the truth for those who adhere to it by faith, and which must be regarded as such. The difficulty is that we cannot clearly see the two aspects in antithesis to one another. Christianity is represented not only by the Church's authorities, but also by hidden currents and secret actions. Again, the authentic believers are not alone, but by the very fact of their faith, they are inserted into a certain community of believers, and thus come under the judgment that may be passed on its historical social behavior. They may become part of a historical continuity. My personal adherence to the faith makes me participate in a historical stream with a sociological and political dimension. I have no right to say that I am true, authentic, and pure, and to condemn all that my predecessors have done. I cannot reject the Church of past ages. I am of it in virtue of the communion of the saints. Now, it might seem at first glance that Christianity is the very opposite of nihilism, but alas, things are not as simple as that, and Christianity is in fact at the root of all the historical evil in modern nihilism. There is, of course, no need to recall that Christianity is not the only factor, nor does it bear sole responsibility for modern nihilism. Interesting. Very interesting. You were supposed to be exposing Einstein. You just played some Watt and said some stuff and watched a stream. Exposed. Sure. Nobody's really talking about how Einstein is fake, is they? Was Einstein? Is that? A salesman and engineer. Oh, here we go. Oh, his mother was an elite, or her father became elite. Scientist and mob idol. There's not many people exposing Einstein as a fraud. Fraud. Here we go, Quora. I've heard some people claim Einstein was a fraud. Is there any truth to this claim? Einstein was a complete fraud. His 4 Annus Mirabilis papers in 1905 were authored by his first wife, Melivia. They being the Connect theory of matter, which was the paper to explain Brownian motion, completed in 1904 by Josiah Gibbs. The photoelectric effect paper was from the work of Max Planck and based on the experimental work of Philip Leonard. Special relativity was completed as is known today by Henry Poincare in 1904. He was the headline speaker in St. Louis for the Physics World Fair, where he declared, from all these results, if they are confirmed, would arise entirely new mechanic, which would be above all characterized by this fact that no velocity could surpass that of light any more than any temperature could fall below zero absolute, because bodies would oppose an increasing inertia would cause a tend to acceleration of their motion. This inertia would become infinite when one approached the velocity of light. The historic record shows that at least 5 others produced his E equals mc squared formula before him. The field equations of general relativity theory were completed by David Hilbert and copied possibly by his friend Erwin Freundlich for Einstein's paper. Einstein was made famous in 1919 after an observational experiment of bending of light, which many know today that this too was a complete fraud. At the same time, many scientists from around the world erupted in anger, especially as he was to receive the Nobel Prize. That's a good evidence that he's a fraud. They gave him a Nobel Prize. I guess people don't realize that, though. What are you doing, baby? You're going crazy. Hey. Should probably play with him. Einstein was labeled a fraud, not an honest investigator, a career plagiarist, and much, much more. What is amazing is that today people don't know any of this scandal. Many today argue that Einstein should have received 5 to 7 Nobel Awards. Einstein received a record 62 nominations for a Nobel up to the year 1922 for many different theories. The scandal had such an effect that from 1923 until his death in 1955, no one dared nominate Einstein again. Not one person from anywhere in the world. Amazing. What does this comment say? I didn't know that grill cooks at McDonald's are required to have such extensive scientific knowledge. I'm impressed. Okay, well, if you want the fucking facts, there you go, faggot. Yeah, Phil Ko, got you. Einstein was a fraud. That guy quoting Einstein, Joel, is a fucking retard. I'm pretty sure he's not a scientist. If he is a scientist, maybe he's like stretching the truth, like when a Subway worker calls himself a sandwich artist. Einstein sucks. People who quote Einstein are fucking. Yep. Einstein was a fraud.
What? I'm sorry.
Einstein was a fraud. Like,
Probably.
Indeed, he was.
Einstein. You trying to give me brain Einstein. You trying to take me to the train and then take me to Auschwitz because I'm a Jew, Frankenstein.
You're trying to make me cringe with your meme
I know,
rap.
it's a joke. It's jokes. You don't understand
Cringe.
the vibe.
It's a cringe.
Okay, Simon Cowell, it's a joke. It's called I'm fucking LARPing in here.
Okay, you want a real song? Should I sing?
No, Mars didn't even listen to me sing. He just came in now being all critical.
Yeah. Well, here's this song that you can be critical
Dave,
about.
you're gonna scare him away. Stop.
Of course, I will scare him away. Baby, you're so complicated. The way you put me down. And when we go out with your friends, you act like you don't want me around. And I get so frustrated.
Communism just sets everybody equally without them earning it. Like everybody gets treated equal, everybody gets this equal. Yeah, but did you earn it? That's the thing. Because maybe that person has, excuse me, more I don't know, more skills than you. Yeah, that's what these leftists don't understand. There's always going to be different people than you, better looking people, smarter than you, better equipped, better skilled, bigger dick, smaller dick, whatever.
I'm better looking than you.
Yeah, of course I said that. Yeah. So the only way to achieve true equality, in my opinion, I've invented the term. I don't know if it already exists, but if you want to really, really achieve equality, it should be cosmic communism, right? Literally nobody should be different from each other because that's true equality. Yeah. But if you go that route, that's totalitarianism. Yeah. You create robots. Yeah.
You
create
force people to be the same.
Exactly. That's the thing. And the only way that equality can be achieved, especially in America, is by putting down the people that are just more. It just so happened, man. Like the lottery. They didn't choose to be better than others, or not better, like in value.
And also the people who work hard. Like you have to put down those people too because they work harder than you. So they are rich. Yeah. Even so, my point was like they have to put down the people who are. It doesn't matter if you have a talent or you just work hard. Like you still get put down because you are somehow richer than other people. It doesn't matter if you earned it or not. Like,
exactly, that's the thing. I mean, maybe I worked hard, man. Maybe I worked hard and I earned it. And it's the same thing with women and men. How do we achieve equality for women? Well, by putting men down. That's the only way. Because overall, men are going to be better skilled at a lot of things than women. And you know what? Women are going to be skilled at other things better than men. Yeah, but this is not how you create equality. Equality has to be earned if it's going to be honest and it's going to be, true.
Define communism.
Bro, we already
people. So the means of production are Okay, I forgot the definition. Let me just Google it.
Ah, man. But you've been talking about communism this
Yeah,
whole time.
so
we were
it's
talking
basically
more
when the
about,
people, when the workers are the one who gets the benefits, of the. So like basically the entrepreneur aren't the main people here. The main people are the workers. So that's the thing. That's what
so
communism is.
it's changed where the power lies in the hand of the workers because of the lobby
Yeah.
groups, essentially. So
That's
we've
what
got
they
sort
tell you. That's what they
sort
tell
of
you. In
building up to
reality,
the idea that currently we live in
Mhm.
like a socialist, communist sort of idea, and we all sort of agree, I think, that this society that we're living at the minute is socialism heading towards communism.
Bro, that's what they tell you, that it's like that. It's the workers. You will be. Isn't that amazing, bro?
No,
Please.
that is what
No, wait,
communism
wait.
is.
Hold
Okay.
on. Just follow this, yeah, and be aware and wake up. Well, I'm not saying that you're not woke, but just wake up, be aware, be lucid, and realize who the fuck the 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 politicians are gonna give you equality, bro. It's a shtick, man. They're never gonna give you because that's power. Why would they give you this type of power? You know, you don't even have to think too much about it, to be honest. All you
Yeah.
gotta understand is that these people want to maintain power.
Hey,
They
if it
will
works
do
with
anything.
Spaniards, do it.
Right. Well, they will do anything to maintain the power. Anything at all. Anything. Anything.
Yeah, that's also a problem of communism. Like, people are gonna be corrupt. You can't expect like those people on top aren't gonna like want some extra cash or like, yeah. You can't expect people to be perfect.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
That's
Okay,
okay.
Alida, let me just tell
Let
you
me just
what
let me
is the
just let me
punishment?
just let
Okay,
me
no,
just
no, no. Do you know? Do you know?
Alida, बच्ची ना
Alida,
बंद है
stop
क्या
talking.
कर रही है
It's like you're stuck.
खुद
Look
ये
at
You're
her,
like a
look
पूछे
at her,
tape
look at
recorder stuck. What?
her, look at her. Race trainer.
I'm a race trader.
Okay.
I'm not Arab. I'm not a dirty Arab like you are.